Okay, so a very, very good morning to all of you. Good to see you. I know that this is holiday season, and all of you spending this 1.5, 2 hours on learning this kind of thing, that means a lot. So thank you for joining in. I can see Savita and Sujata also joined in. Hi Savita, hi Sujata.
Good morning.
Very,
Hello, good
very good morning. And whoever can come on video, it'll be even better. Give me company. Okay, so we'll just give it 1 more minute since people are joining in. I just received a couple of messages as well. So exactly in 2 minutes, which is 11:05, we will start. Okay. Hi Shri, good morning. Yay, Sujata, thank you for coming live. Good to see you. We have only seen you in the messages. So very, very nice.
Okay.
Great. Okay. And last 1 minute before we begin this topic. I know this topic is very close to people's heart, all of our lives as well. So would love to hear your perspectives, would love to share some of the experiences I've had. Um, and I hope that we leave this program with a lot of new year resolutions. So let's see what's coming up for all of you. Okay, so it's 11:05 and we're going to start now. Again, a very, very good morning and welcome to all of you. Today's topic is a little personal. It's something that we feel, it's something that we cannot quantify, but it is something as strong that can really impact our lives, our success, our career, our relationship. In fact, 90% of our life is the quality of our life is dependent on what we call as self-esteem and self-confidence. We cannot measure it. We cannot really quantify what is it, but then it's there throughout in all the situations in life. So today's in fact objective is to really first hear from all of you. I'll open this group to all of you. I'll be asking some questions, and only if you're comfortable, please do answer. That will add a lot of value to the listeners. So please feel free to share your experiences, feel free to share what your best practices are, and let's keep the conversation going. Okay, so are you all set? Are you all ready? Shall we begin?
Yes.
Great. Hi,
Yes.
Chobi. Thank you. Yes, I need
Hi,
some
Bindu.
yeses.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Hi.
Okay, so today's topic is about self-esteem. And when we talk about self-esteem, I will hear from all of you. What do you mean by it? How is it connected to self-confidence? What is your understanding? What is self-esteem? Yes, anyone who can give it a try. I know these are
Understand our own value. Understand our value.
understand our value in terms of Sujata. Thank you. You're very close, but give some more meat to it.
That we bring something to the table or we are important.
Great. So understanding our value and feeling important. That's a behavioral trait, bringing something important to the table, That's a trait that people with high self-esteem show. Absolutely. So Tejal says your beliefs in right and wrong. That is self-esteem. Okay. Tejal, can you talk a little more about what you want to say in this? Rights and wrong. Tejal, are you there? You're on mute if you're talking. Okay. Anyone else who wants to? Yes, with it. You want to
the
say
view
something?
that we the view that we have about ourselves in all aspects of our lives, be it say financial, be it your physicality, and be it your relationships, everything, like how sum total of your how do you like what is the view that you have about yourself in all these aspects, and how comfortable are you will contribute to the self esteem.
Beautiful with it. I think that's very apt. Your own view about yourself. How do you see yourself? What do you? How many times in a day you observe yourself criticizing self or giving some appreciation to self? Right. Very very good. Okay, thank you with it. So that's what is largely self esteem, right? How you view yourself. Now, my question to all of you, next question is, how does self-esteem impact self-confidence? How does self-esteem impact self-confidence?
Probably the way we perform in every situation depends on our self-esteem,
Okay,
the way we handle the situations.
the way we handle the situations, the way we respond to situations, it depends. So, can anyone give an example? Yes, Shri.
Yeah, it is like that. If we don't have self-esteem, like we are thinking whatever we are saying in a meeting or whatever we are doing on a project or work is not good enough, then probably we will not come out and perform the best.
So that
And that is what,
confidence, yeah. So which means that, thank you, Sujata. So which means that self-esteem, it's somewhere directly proportional to self confidence. Can we say that? Can we
yes.
say that? And
Yes.
self confidence is directly proportional to our quality of life. Somewhere it impacts our quality of life.
Very true.
Yeah, in the way, because if one is not self-confident, probably, the life choices or, performance or earning potential all will be diminishing.
Absolutely. So now, with all the linkage that we have created, can we very confidently say that self esteem is one single, very, very big factor in how we operate today and in how our life is today? Agree?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Bindu, but I want to say something here.
No, please.
Yeah, sometimes what happens is, our self-esteem gets our people specific. Uh, Specifically with few people, we are not able to be, confident.
Mm-hmm.
We try to take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with others, we are able to portray ourselves with the complete authority and what is there in our mind. Why does that happen?
Beautiful. So, if we revisit that, Veena, if we revisit the definition of self esteem, it's about how you define yourself. When we go in front of people who are very accomplished and very, in our view, they're way higher up, and the moment I get in front of these people, I feel myself as a very very small creature in the whole ocean. My self-esteem goes down, and hence the confidence goes down. Simple example. vis-a-vis, if I go to a set of audience who are newbies, and I feel and I define myself as, I have had a lot of experience and I can give something to this group, then my self-esteem goes higher, which means what I tell myself, how I define myself goes higher, and how I behave or my confidence level goes higher. It's as simple as that. So self-esteem absolutely can vary for different set of people depending on how you are defining yourself in that moment. Does
Okay.
that answer your question, Veena?
Yes, yes, very much.
So while there are some genesis to it, while there's a lot of genesis to it, how it is built, there is a, and I will take you through that. But in different settings, this is how the correlation works. Yeah. Now, any other question that you have on self-esteem, relationship with self-confidence, relationship with the quality of life? Any other question before we move on?
Yeah. One question, Bindu.
Yes, Veena.
So when I am, so let's suppose that my definition about myself is very clear, okay? But the person in front of me is, very authoritative, and I become submissive. Is
What,
it,
yeah, what makes you become submissive is the question.
yeah, right? Got it.
So if someone is authoritative in front of me and I am a person with a very high self-esteem, or at least I see myself in the light of being, I'm like, okay, you have your own point of view, you have the way you deliver your messages, you have your style. But if I have a low self-esteem, I will translate that information simply on me saying, oh my God, this guy is bringing my value down. And the moment you think that, the moment you start thinking about what people are going to think, you are lowering your self esteem. So, yeah, does that answer? Very good questions, Veena. Thank you for those questions.
I have plenty of questions because I get so many experiences here. Sometimes I get confused. Like one more question. This will be the last. Okay, I will.
Problem. Please go on and
Yeah.
ask as many.
So, thank you. So, is surrendering also lowering the self-esteem, or it could be just, I don't want to give up my opinion. I just surrender to it. So, does surrendering also is because of lower self-esteem, or we can look at it differently?
So, self esteem is your definition for yourself,
Okay.
right? If I surrender saying, oh my God, I can't cope up. If I don't surrender, I might lose my job. I might do this, or I, might lose this relationship. So, hence, let me just surrender. Now, that's low self esteem.
Okay.
But there is a value to surrendering as well. So for example, someone who's very very elder to me comes to me, starts giving lecture about something, I disagree, but then
Hmm.
at the same time I feel, yeah, let me choose my battles. They have their own experiences, let me discount them, and
Hmm.
I just simply do what they say,
Hmm.
right? But I'm
Okay.
not lowering my self esteem in that. So how you feel inside about yourself
Mm-hmm.
makes a lot of difference. And true surrender, that's also written in our scriptures, Gita, true
Ah,
surrender is when you feel good about it,
yeah.
right? If you are, inside you're just cursing yourself or angry on yourself that why did you surrender, then it's not, then it's low self-esteem, then it's not the
O-
surrender in
Okay.
the true sense. Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So in that case, it's important to understand why somebody is surrendering. What is the reason, and then correlate it with the self-esteem.
So when, absolutely, and when you are surrendering, how you are feeling about it, how are you feeling about the opposite person to whom you are surrendering, what is the intent of that surrender, defines how are you feeling about yourself when you are surrendering. That makes a big thing.
Sure. Thanks,
I
Bindu.
remember this one very important incident of my life when it was a Rakhi day and I wanted to reach my brother. And somewhere, because I was driving those days and I had car, I drive even today, but then, yeah, so a lot of people around me, my distant relatives, close relatives, they also wanted to be dropped to their respective houses. And on that day, the roads were so cramped that by the time in the afternoon I reached my home, my brother had already gone to office. And I was so frustrated. Crying. I started crying a lot. And I was so frustrated that, people don't think about stuff. I had to leave everyone, drop everyone, and then do it. So I was cribbing my heart out. And my dad, there's this one dialogue that I will never forget. हिंदी में बोला उन्होंने. So I was crying, saying, कोई सोचता नहीं है, किसी ने मेरे बारे में नहीं सोचा, मेरा भी तो भाई है, I had to. And then my dad just simply, in the same tone, he said, किसी का अच्छा ही करके आ रही है ना. And that instantly shifted my mood, my entire way to look at it. That even if I was dropping people at home, I was helping them. So what am I cribbing about? So, you know, how you surrender and feel makes a lot of difference. I hope that clarifies. Now,
Bindu, one question
yes, with it.
before we move ahead, if it's okay. Can I ask?
Please, please.
Bindu, like self-esteem, if you break down, it is about the self and of course the esteem. And so the self itself, we've been exploring, it is about authentic self and inauthentic self. So how does that play a role? Because we might have a false sense of self-esteem as well.
Absolutely.
And the esteem itself, how much it is dependent on other people, right? As in, like, there is one self that, because see, as you said, it is variable in the environment that we are in, and if it is
Absolutely.
constantly shifting, then it is not. Is it true self-esteem still, if it is changing by environment? And how
That
much does
brings me
authentic self, yeah, plays a role here?
excellent question with it. Excellent question. And that brings me to the topic of the day. How is self esteem built in the first place? Where does it start? And how do we program ourselves with self esteem? So, with that, let me move ahead and ask you that question. How do you think your self esteem, at what age did you realize you had a self esteem, and how was it built? What do you think? When does it start building or breaking? Anyone?
Sometime after you're independent is what I feel.
Okay.
It depends at what age, but I at least I felt that I had something called self-respect or self-esteem after I was independent and I started probably working and earning and having individual perception. And
That's the level 2 of your self-esteem. When you became aware of your self-image.
correct.
Now, if I were to, Vijay, thank you so much. One, for joining in, and second, for chiming in. So, Vijay, before you started earning, say when you were studying, now when you look back, do you think there were instances where you were defining your self-esteem?
There could have been Bindu, but I also know that the situations demanded that to be somewhere crushed out or put under the carpet situation where you felt your self-esteem or your self-respect was hurt, but you couldn't do anything about it, or you couldn't reflect on it or reciprocate on it.
Which is
I
fine.
don't know, it's my feeling, right?
Yeah. So which means that it was there. What you did about it is a different thing, but it was there, which got hurt at some point in
Right.
time in different situations. So if it was there, then when does it get built?
I think at a younger age, Bindu, when even as kids, so my daughter is about 7. She doesn't have it yet, is what I feel. I mean, she's happy-go-lucky, and if I remember my younger days, I think somewhere close to that time when, if there's something you become conscious about, even in school time,
Hmm.
even at a younger age, let's say
Yeah,
10 or 11, when that fact of saying that, okay, if a teacher scolds you in front of other kids, that's when that confidence and that esteem takes a hit. When that image of me, how am I looking, purely from the looks and the dressing up perspective, or from how is my behavior being perceived and all of that, I think that starts happening around that time, is when that first level of self-esteem or ego or anything around that starts to get built up, is what I feel.
beautiful. Absolutely, Vishal. So, yes, now we are saying that self esteem starts building up even before, in our school time or when we start interacting with the world. Now, my question is that who play when you are a child? Of course, we are not aware of self esteem and confidence and blah, blah, blah. Uh, but who plays the most important role to define us? So, when we say self esteem is how we look at ourselves, how we define ourselves. So, when we were young, how did we arrive at a definition that who are we? Who are the people who gave us that definition, directly or indirectly?
Parents, teachers, the environment, I mean, the society.
Yeah, we were defined then. We were defined by our parents, teachers, we were defined by relatives around. We were given labels, we were given, our strengths and weaknesses, what we need to improve on. And that's where is the genesis of self esteem. That's where it all begins, when we are not even aware of what we are doing. Does it make sense? Simple little example. A child, he or she picks up a glass of water in a glass, not in the steel cup, in a glass cup. And the child is wobbling. What is the first instinct? What do you do? What do you do?
Either we say, be careful, don't drop it, or probably run to catch it ourselves and stop
Yeah,
them from exploring. Oh, wow.
yeah. When a child is climbing up the railing and you know that there is a high risk of falling down, what do you say? Everyone, I'm sure you've heard these dialogues. What do you say?
First thing I make sure to get them off the railing, and depends upon his past behavior activity. If it is her first time, I'll scold, or like I'll try to
Yeah,
convince saying that don't do
thank
that.
you for being
If it's
honest. Abs- thank you for being honest. Absolutely.
her or his fault, I'll
Why
try
do
to
we
beat
why
him
do we
up
scold? Yeah, why do we scold? Because
because we know like
have our own
the
fears.
consequences are not good enough. Yes, we have the fears and we know the
Yeah,
risk which we
because
have
we
seen.
know the consequences. Absolutely. We know the consequences and we are fearful.
Yes,
The fear is ours and we take it out on the child, right? The reaction that is there is our fear. It's not the child's fear. Child was fearless. He was climbing up. Not to say that you don't do it, but these small little things where you keep saying no to the child, you keep, telling them be careful, and being a helicopter parent or whatever style. Parents can't be. I teach about parenting, but seriously, am I perfect? I don't think so. I look back and there's so many things I could have done differently. But then what we need to be aware of is largely how we as parents knowingly and consciously contribute to our child's self-esteem. Every time we say no to a child, every time we define a label for a child, they are creating a mental map of their self esteem. What do they stand for? And that is what we did for us when we were children. How our parents, relatives defined how we felt in those moments. Trust me, all those feelings might be somewhere unconsciously playing a large role in your self esteem today. And so there are a lot of, you know,
Nice.
ways to this whole topic. I can take it to therapy side, I can take you to a lot of other factors that impact self esteem. But today I chose a very different topic, which is strokes, the stroke economy. And I believe that if we understand that, it can help us as adults. It can help even if you are a parent. It can help you a lot to define our, to at least inculcate that self esteem, high self esteem in our children. Now, there is also a balance in what we are calling esteem. Can you see the whiteboard? This is, if I look at, if you see this as a spectrum, there is low self-esteem and there is a very extremely high self-esteem. Where do you think we need to be?
Balanced.
If you have low self-esteem, you will be labeled as low confident person, or very accommodative. You can be taken for a ride. But if it is very very high self-esteem, sometimes it can be contributed to creating a child who is narcissistic, who's too too much, is not even open to hear other perspectives. So everywhere, this is the balance we need to create. Now, first of all, for yourself, think about it. Where in the spectrum are you? If this is 0 and this is 10, just for a scale perspective, where are you? What you do here will be very different from what do you do here to get to the balance. If you think that you are in this 0 to 5 range of, sorry, 0 to 3 or 2 range of self-esteem, then what are the things you can do to increase it? Maybe affirmations or a lot of stuff that we'll talk about today. But if you already have a very very high self-esteem and you think that sometimes you it becomes counterproductive for you, then the only thing that can get you to balancing it is gratitude. Be grateful to everyone. Make sense? So that's about balancing part before I even venture into the whole topic. So far, are any questions that you have? Atika, very nice to see you. Thank you for the company.
Thanks, Bindu. I really wanted to join this self-esteem program because I think I'm a person with low esteem actually, and I'm very accommodating, and I feel that people take me on ride as you mentioned. So I thought, okay, I can do, I can get some benefits out of your workshop.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I really hope, Atika, this helps you and everyone who's watching this. Okay.
Bindu, I had a question, and I mean, I'm sure you might actually deal with that later on. But if it is, you can let me know. How do we bring? I mean, I know we are not supposed to how can I say, overtake our children's mentality or thought. But how do we, if we feel a child is already very high in self-esteem, which is good in a way, but not so good as well, how can we make them practice gratitude, or some pointers on those lines on how a developed individual can be focused focused on balancing the esteem, would really help. Just
Thank you, Vijaya. Absolutely. To bring them to balance, one needs to have bring very, and in both the sides, conscious efforts are important. There are a lot of best practices that we do with the kids, and people here can also share. But for example, for me, I've created some gratitude prompt cards, and I ask my daughter to write down what are you grateful for, what are the things, and when it comes to respect, that's the value that I'm inculcating in her. And having to say thank you to people who are helping, being conscious about that stuff. So maybe that's one place. Once you are aware where your child is, in what part of the spectrum, you can always take those measures, and maybe in the group I can send you some lot many more ideas of how to bring that to balance.
thank you, Bindu. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so that's, in fact, the internet, Google Devta is filled up with all these tips and tricks. I'll also share whatever works for the child, that works. Now, today is to understand the economy of strokes, and this is a concept that I've borrowed from transactional analysis, which is something which was is it's a psychology subject. It's something that is used in psychotherapies, developed by Eric Berne. And one very intriguing aspect of that whole subject is the economy of strokes. So I'm going to just touch the tip of the iceberg, and we can continue the conversation. Maybe tomorrow we have a general Q&A, so we can continue that. So let me just begin with saying that a big part of your self esteem, how you define yourself, is already built in your childhood. And the role is played by parents and teachers, bigger role by parents or your authority figures. Now, very unconsciously, because obviously parenting sessions were not very common in those times, in the times that we are, and maybe our next generation will be more conscious about it. But what we need to do is just relook at certain things and see how it emanates, and at least be careful that we don't do that stuff with our kids, right? And biggest role from a parent that is played um, to build or break the self esteem of the kid is contributed by strokes that we will be talking about. Now, let me just share this screen. And because I didn't want to miss any point in this topic, I have created some slides. So I'm very sorry. I won't bog you down. I'll still keep this program interactive so that people, even who are watching on YouTube, at least get to learn from other people's questions. I want to keep it grounded. So, but few slides definitely your way. I don't want to miss anything. Now, what is a stroke? Any idea? Have you heard about it? Have you learned about it? What is a stroke?
Appreciation,
Sorry?
encouragement.
Encouragement, okay. So Vijaya, when I told you or welcomed you in the session, I said, great to see you. How did you feel?
Good.
That was a stroke,
Right.
right? Now, when we encourage someone, when we appreciate someone, or whenever we even not appreciate someone or give a feedback which is negative, that is also a stroke. Agree? The way we give these strokes or the way we take these strokes define largely our self esteem, especially in the childhood. And hence, as today, I want you to look back as a child. How did it happen? How did it build in your family? And as a parent, if you are a parent, that what are you doing unconsciously? Because a lot of times this whole psychology of strokes run in the family, and you don't even know how it is impacting the whole family, good, bad, whatever. So if I were to quickly define what is a stroke, it is simply something that brings a reaction, that makes you feel something. It could be good, it could be bad. Simple example, right? Now I want some of you, and please be very honest about it, and I know that it can be a little difficult as well, but see if you can answer this question. What was the system of compliments or praising at your home, in your family, when you were a child? How how and think from these perspectives, okay? Were they generous every time, all the time? Was it made in public? What was the frequency? And what were the beliefs about praising people, complimenting others? So over to all of you, and for next 5 minutes I want to hear from you. Think about it. Back in your family, were praises very common or were they rare?
Yeah, so Bindu, for me, it was both, in home. Frequency was whenever I felt that I did something great, and belief was largely to encourage.
Great. Okay.
Not, it was not the same for all five of us. It was different for each one of us.
That's interesting. So how did it work out? How was it different?
Sometimes I think maybe I was good in studies for me. So for me, it was more of a treat. Okay. For my elder sister, it was done differently to, encourage her and bring her back to, uh, studies. But I always used to feel that why she is, appreciated differently, or why she is getting scolded, or what was the purpose, why there is a different, way my dad is choosing to bring her back into the academics. So there was confusion, but I used to enjoy, and my siblings used to be jealous.
Okay. And in the school system, where do you think did it impact your self-esteem? Lower or higher side, whatever it is.
uh, it actually boosted, but at times, when you are together with your brother and sisters, I used to feel bad because I used to hear that it's all because of me.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I never liked it.
Hmm. But overall, deep inside, you had a
Higher self-esteem.
higher self-esteem.
I used to.
And anyone on the other side of the spectrum. So say, Veena, thank you for sharing it. I know it's a little heavy stuff, but really respect you for sharing it. Now, anyone who had a sibling and who felt that, they are complimented more or praised more than me.
Me,
Who's that?
me, Krishna.
Krishna. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, I believe I can answer this question because my sister was very good in studies. She is actually good in doing anything which she does. Okay. As we were in the same school, whenever there used to be a parents teacher meeting. So, as you see, like if there are many classes whose parents teacher meeting are happening, they used to happen in different corners of the hall. So, once my mom is done with meeting my sister's teachers. Okay, so when she comes to meet my teacher, and she sees like, okay, she came for Nivedita also, and she is coming for Krishna also. So their first reaction was, are they both brothers and sisters? This was the first prominent answer, which was question which was asked by all the teachers, even with the by the principal.
Mm.
So whenever my mom said yes, so there was like, okay, no, we can't believe, like, one is so good in studies and one is very bad in studies, like not good in studies, he is notorious, he pays no attention at all.
So,
Then
Krishna, how did this impact your self-esteem?
yeah, sometimes I feel like, okay, they deserved someone who's more better in studies. I didn't took studies like with so much seriousness the way my sister did. And I'll say, like, yeah, my sister was motivated for her studies, whereas if someone pushes me for some doing something, I do really good. So at that point I felt like my sister was motivated, and like in home also, like not everyone was so encouraging to studies, they were neutral to it. And for me it was a bit of negligence. If I'm not studying, my mom is saying, okay, do this and do this, he is doing something. And whereas my sister, if well, she was, as I said, she was self motivated. And then when I was in class 12, my sister's when I was in class 12, she was in engineering, so she forced me to study the class 12 syllabus nicely. And that happened, like I got so much interested in that, like I topped in my school. Like,
Excellent.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, but again, like there were some where times, okay, my sister, she was in Manipal, she was a rank holder, so I didn't achieve that level, so that feels like somewhere, okay, there is a substantial gap.
No
Now she
matter
is in,
what I do, I
yeah,
cannot really. So
yeah.
now tell me this experience in your life, and I'm sure somewhere, do you do you think that is still part of you? Sometimes you do think, sometimes that impacted the impact you've had on your self-esteem at that point in time. The same pattern runs even now.
No, it runs in a very different manner now. Like, if like now she is in USA, she did her masters, and she is having a very good job. So now this stream runs okay. Earlier it used to be okay. Why she is only praised? Now it is like, okay, I also want to do, and I want to be in the same status, so that our parents feel equally proud of that. Even though we both, like, our parents are equally proud of us, because given the different scenarios, we both are doing equally well. And they are we equally support to our parents. And like, we still follow and respect our parents decision, whatever they say, it has the highest weightage in all the actions which we do till now. So it's
Okay.
that's I feel like I don't feel like I actually self-esteem wise, I sometimes I feel okay, if I also want to have some opportunity, and I like, if someone is talking about someone's success, I feel like, yeah, I also want to do that, and I also want
Krishna, your voice is kind of getting,
succeed, and
your
people
voice
should
is
talk
getting
about.
cut, Krishna.
Earlier it was not there, like
Okay, so his voice is getting cut. But what we understand here is that there are times when you go through certain experiences and you make some positive translations out of it. Now, very simple stuff like my sister is getting more praised and getting more attention, my sister is getting more recognition than me. I can translate it in my mind saying that I'm not good enough,
happens. Is
right?
it audible?
Yes, Krishna, sorry, your voice was very inaudible, so I had to mute you.
Yeah.
But I'm just, summarizing the point here. Now, in that moment of strokes at home, there are times when we translate it very positively. Oh, I take inspiration, I need to, but that happens seldom. That I take inspiration and I will compete. I will ensure that I prove it to my parents that I'm also that good. And the entire life goes with that need that, my parents one day tell me that I'm as good as my sibling or I'm better than my sibling. So there's always a hierarchy that we have in our mind, be it our friends, be it our parents, and the need for three things: acknowledgement, attention, and appreciation. These are the three things that every human being, as a human being, it's very natural for us to have. Now, at our home, if we did not receive that much, or even if we received, we did not perceive that we received that much, we felt that our siblings or other people are getting it more. Absolutely, that impacts our self-esteem, how we define ourselves. There are three ways in which we can translate in our early years three beliefs that can lower your self-esteem. But before I go to that, I saw Noreen, you had raised your hand. You wanted to say something, Noreen?
Yeah, I just wanted to share that I was probably in the these are two different spectrums, right? What I experienced was I was never appreciated directly. So whatever I did well, all three of us, in fact, we were probably, maybe दूसरों के सामने they would have appreciated, but it was never direct to us. It never got onto our head also. But yes, we felt good when we did something nice. But at the same time, when we maybe scored less or faced a difficulty in a stage performance, it did not go so well. That also, it was like, okay, next time you can do better. So it was
So it
neither
wasn't
appreciation
negative.
nor
It
I didn't
wasn't
get you.
negative, but it wasn't positive too many times directly as well.
Yeah, so it was like failure never bothered us. That was one good part because they always kept us going that, okay, it's okay, you'll do better next time. So we were never afraid of failure, and that kind of built a thing, but appreciation was never direct.
Hmm. So another comment that I can see here is that there was zero appreciation directly and very less appreciation in public. It lowered my self esteem that I always did things above and beyond my liking throughout life just to get that acknowledgement. Thank you. I'm not sure if you want to me to announce the name, but thank you for writing that comment, because that is how our life pattern starts happening. Lack of appreciation in our childhood can lead to an adulthood where we yearn for it. Yeah. And here are the three things in which you can, as a child, you could have translated this information, right? The first belief could be that I don't deserve, right? I'm not good enough. And that happens when, if your siblings are treated better, or even I was coaching the other day one of the ladies, and she said that my sister was always praised, she's so beautiful, and nobody told me that, and I assumed that I wasn't beautiful because nobody would explicitly say that. And that's how her self-esteem went down. She became very conscious and believed that she doesn't deserve, right? Simply, now the second thing that you can get into is that I am not loved. I deserve, but I'm not loved. I'm not loved enough. They don't love me. I used to have that. I used to always feel that. And if my mom is watching this YouTube video, she'll laugh over it, because I always used to tell her that you love my brother more than me. I tease her even now. but I would always yearn that I become the number one child. I am the one who's loved the most. The insecurities in my relationships were because of this deeply rooted belief that I'm not loved enough, that I started doing more and more to get loved, right? So that's the second very, very deep rooted belief that starts from the childhood. We don't even know unconsciously. The third one is that I don't have enough. Now, this is about a belief where we say that, the resources are less. We also can call it as a poor mindset. Poor mindset isn't really in literally poor mindset, that I need more. You can earn crores of rupees, billions of dollars, but you still feel that you don't have enough. You can get lot of appreciation, 24 hours of recorded appreciation, but still you're yearning for more and more and more. And there's this unending race with yourself that I don't have enough. Now, these are some of the core limiting beliefs that stem in our childhood, majorly because of the system of compliments and praises at home. Different siblings, and as a parent, maybe it's important for all of you also to learn that how you treat two different, two brothers and sisters, or two sisters, how it is impacting the other when you're praising one, and how are you translating it to the other person so they don't feel either of these. Now, my question to all of you is, can you, how many of you can connect your state right now? Um, Anyone who can connect with any of these limiting beliefs, say one, two, or three, just write down on the chat and I would know which limiting belief do you connect with. It could be three, it could be two, it could be all the three. So let me see if you're able to connect it.
Bindu, I would like to chip in, right? For me, I think it's all of them, but the most one or the highest one would be the number three, because even though unless you, because you feel, you don't hear it from a third person, you don't feel that you have it. You don't get the confidence that you have it. Even after being in the corporate industry for so many years, that is always there. So
Yeah. Thank you, Vijay, for sharing that. And thank you all who are writing your answers in the chat. And that gives me a belief that at least you're able to connect with what I'm saying. Now, remember, the first step to deal with this is to tell yourself that, boss, that was childhood. Parents are not superheroes. And this might be my own translation. They might not even mean it. And even if they mean it, does it really hold true today? As of now, can I allow myself to believe that I do deserve? Can I allow myself to be loved enough? And those are some permissions that you might need from your own self. Nobody else can give you those permissions, right? Now, I have seen homes where there is a common belief that if I compliment you, the success will get onto your head. So I'm not going to compliment or praise you. Or there are naturally critical parents, they first, first thing they look at is what is not right. And it's not because they're bad, it's because that's how they look at life. So, Savita, you want to say something?
Yeah, Bindu. Bindu, so, my experience also was something similar to what Krishna said. Uh, and, I really worked on it. And now, like, I don't have any of these 3 points. Like, I feel that, like, it doesn't matter to me now what, other people are saying. But still, there are times when, you are being reminded of, like, your childhood, those judgments and whatever you did wrong. So, matlab, how do you, and then you get back, go back into the same zone. Even no matter how much hard you try, and like now, like, so whomever I was compared with in my childhood, like all my cousins and all,
Hmm.
I mean, I am doing quite well, when compared to them. And now I am being praised, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me. But that confidence or that self-esteem thing is still there. Is still somehow connected to that, those days.
Hmm.
And it get worse when, like, you're being reminded sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thank you for sharing that, Savita, because It's not about the achievements. It's not about the praises. It's the self concept that we built years ago. And that self concept, that esteem needs to, we need to work on that, not the accomplishments. I worked in corporate for 20 years. Out of those 20 years, 17 years, I was chasing growth. And one of the biggest reason why I wanted to grow was to show off to everyone that I have it in me. Even if I come from a very, very, lower class background, I still have it in it, and I'm going to show it to everyone. Whoever teased me in my childhood, and whoever did this, that. But you know what? When I achieved that, it felt so shallow. The feeling didn't go away, and that's when I realized that, oh my god, it was not about them, it was not about those experiences, it was about, you know it was about my definition of how I am looking at myself, and I was always in the race of proving to myself that I could do. Now, how do I change that? First of all, affirmations play a big role. For throughout so many years, you have been translating or creating an image of yours that is demeaned, that is, maybe some cringy feeling about your past. Savita, I can well connect with any past experiences that you had. um, you know those memories will bring those feelings, because that's how brain stores memory. Brain stores memory not in the form of 0 and 1. It stores memory in the form of all the senses. So even the feeling is stored in that sense. So the moment you recall a memory, you will get that feeling. Now, what we need to do is use some NLP techniques, use something to discard that feeling that is attached to it. So I made peace by saying that, the bygones are bygones. I choose to forgive myself, I choose to forgive others, and I choose to start. And, simple things like these can help you, consistently. If you do it, it can help you work on the self-esteem. But that's one thing, letting go of what has happened before. And I'm sure I'm not the first person to say that. I think everyone in my line says that. But I'm just giving you that logic of, how it came into being simply by the economy of strokes. And in India especially, basis, our culture, openly complimenting and praising each other is not the culture. How many times have you today appreciated someone in this call for speaking out some point which is great? Have you done that? Did you notice that Tejal, Savita, Vijaya, they are really, really giving very good pertinent points? We noticed, but did we acknowledge? We didn't. We have a space to acknowledge. We didn't, because it doesn't come naturally to us. And that's what is called the economy of strokes. And that's what we are going to double click on today. Um, Before that, any question that you have?
Yeah, Bindu, can I ask one question?
Ratika, yes.
Yeah. Like my kid is 5 year old and he is very, very hyper. So whenever we go to our friends or families, and if anyone come to our places, they start comparing and commenting on my child. Like, their grandchild is so behaved. He is so samajhdar. He understand everything. But I feel that it is causing a self-esteem damage to my child now. So
Yeah.
what can be done on that? And if my child misbehaves with me and with my family members, so what stroke I can use for him? I understand when he does good work, I say good job, very good, super, all the strokes I give. But what if he misbehaves and I want to amend his behavior? So what strokes I can use at that time, so that his self-esteem will not damaged, but he understand that he cannot behave that way.
Sure. So, first of all, thank you for asking that question. I think that's gonna help a lot of people out here and who are watching this video as well. Now, one very pertinent tip I'm going to give here, but there's a book that I've written, a small booklet, a guidebook kind of a thing on mindful parenting, where we have detailed answers for these kind of questions. But let me just give you one quick insight into it. Nobody is a bad person, bad boy, bad girl. No. Always give a stroke on the behavior, right? So it was a bad behavior. You are a good boy. I still love you. I will keep loving you even if you do all of this. But I felt bad. I felt disappointed. You know, the beautiful part about kids is that their whole life revolves around their parents. Tell me, when you receive anything, you know, an award or a recognition or a promotion, who's the first person you want to go and tell?
To our parents.
Parents, right? Even at this age.
Yeah, even not spouse, the parent.
Yeah. Now, think about a small little child. His whole life is around you. And if you tell him that you don't love him or you don't like him or you don't, uh, it's going to impact self esteem like hell. So ensure that they feel secure that, yeah, what I behaved was bad. I might not want to do that again, but I'm still loved. My mom is never going to leave me, you know, or stop loving me. There is a very bleak line between that, where you do not comment on the person. So you do not comment on how that boy is, you comment on the behavior. And one of the best things that I have learned is they can't bear to hurt. No human being can bear to hear that, you know, say for example, Atika, you did something, you told me something which I really felt bad. Okay, you were just joking, but I felt bad about it. Now there are two ways for me to handle it. One is, Atika, that was not the way to talk, okay, in that conversation. This is not done. You were very rude and very, you, you know, you should have thought about it. It was a very sensitive topic. So I'm using you language, right? Now the same thing, if I say, Atika, I wanted to talk to you about something. You know, the other day when everyone was joking about it, I felt really very bad. I felt humiliated at that point in time. Atika, what's going to be your reaction in the first and in the second?
Yeah, in the first reaction, I would take it really personally.
You will get defensive,
Yeah.
right? And if I say I felt very humiliated, what is the second reaction? How would you?
Then I'll be like a bit shameful and I might apologize to you.
Yeah. So that's the magic. And through kids, it works even more than that. Give them I feel statements. They want to make you feel good, they want to make you feel proud, and that's something that you can utilize in your conversations with them, you know, how you are feeling about it.
And like Bindu, like everyone, like few people, they talk that they are being compared with their cousins and their sister. So this is what happening with my kid. He is also being compared with his cousins and with his counterparts. So I don't know, like 5 year boy, he's a grown up child. He understands each and everything
Even
now.
a 2 year old, 1 year old, an
One.
infant can feel how you are feeling in your
Mhm.
nap. If you are restless and you're trying to make an infant sleep, he will never sleep.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
what.
underestimate. They start understanding quite early. In fact, 2 years is the age when they start building their self esteem. So, Atika, my only, and in the interest of time, but my only submission here is that stand up for your kid in front of people. He'll always remember that. And say that, and you need to stand up for your kid. He needs to remember that my mother didn't succumb to all the criticism from me. She fought for me, so I better show them how I am, right? So I think that will help self-esteem.
Okay.
And you can have
Thank
an
you so much, Bindu.
conversation. Yeah, you can have an honest conversations with people around. I would have loved my parents to stand up for me. They started, but it was quite late. But still, I relish those moments when they stood up for me. I relish. I had to ask them to stand up for me, but then finally they did. Finally they did,
Yeah,
and that was the most cherished moment of my life. You know, when I
that
regained.
sounds really great.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on then. And what we are talking about is compliments, praising, how it went on. So let me just share with you some quick, interesting facts about stroke. Okay. A stroke is anything that gives attention or recognition to someone. It could be negative attention, it could be positive attention. Now, listening to all of that, how much do you think the role that stroke plays in building your self-esteem? How much role do you think? 100, 0 to 100%, if that's the scale, what role do strokes play? Let me see answers. Vijaya says 80%. Okay. Till then, I can just doodle different strokes. But all of you, what role does stroke play? Dr. Rashmi says 100%. Okay. So 80, 90, 100 is what I see. And I agree. And it's not only for you as a child, it is also for your children. It's also for you as an adult. Because in the corporate world as well, in any kind of social setting as well, whenever there are people, remember they need 3 A's. The 3 A's are attention, acknowledgement if they've done something, and appreciation.
Appreciation, yeah.
Excellent. So these are the 3 A's. Everyone needs that. Let's give it. Now, how to give it, what to keep in mind. Let me ask you the next thing. What do you think are the different kind of reactions to appreciations that you get? Let me begin with doing my bit. Okay. Atika, can you come on unmute?
Yeah, yes.
First of all, you're very photogenic.
Thank you so
You're
much.
looking very, very, very beautiful on the camera. And the kind of inputs that you're giving, Atika, and the kind of questions you're asking, they're amazing. It's just adding a lot of value to the program.
Much
Um,
so grateful to you, Bindu.
Great. And you know, it's not easy to come on public platforms and ask questions, but not only are you on video, but also very, very active, which is amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, Atika, if I were to ask you, how are you feeling right now? And be very honest.
I'm feeling I'm having a gratitude first of all,
Okay.
and then I'm feeling, I'm feeling like I'm important to you, like being a speaker, being a motivational speaker. You are acknowledging me, so that is adding value to my importance.
To
Uh,
your importance. Okay.
yeah,
And otherwise, the first compliment that I gave you, and you're looking very, very beautiful on the camera. What was the first feeling you got?
that after 30s also I am pretty.
Super, super. Okay. Now, when you say the similar things, Arey, wow, you have a great t-shirt. Wow, you're wearing amazing color. That's my favorite. What's the general typical reaction that you get from compliments? Pratika, thank you. You really nailed it. That's how we take compliments. You know? just being grateful, saying thank you, even explaining it in such a poised manner. I think you're already there. When it comes to taking the positive strokes. But have you seen people rejecting positive strokes?
Um, yeah, I have seen actually.
So, yes, Savita, you want to say something? So,
I think, yeah, Bindu, I'm okay, I guess.
okay, maybe because your hand is raised, so I thought.
Oh,
So,
no.
so Bindu, I think what happens is that sometimes people think that you're pulling their leg when you are, so your compliments has to be genuine. But what I have learned, right, is that even if people are pulling your leg, if somebody is saying good to you, your duty is to just say thanks with a smile. That's it. Then you have to decide whether you are taking it in a real way or you think that okay, somebody is trying to have fun, but you have to just say thank you, thanks so much for a compliment. That's it. Why you have to judge at that point of time, right? So that's
Absolutely.
my
And
limit.
even if they're being sarcastic and you say thank you
Yeah,
with all your heart, with all your gratitude, I think it's the other person who needs to get embarrassed about it. Because now they'll have to explain it explicitly that they are being sarcastic. So that's my way of
correct.
even handling sarcasm. Somebody comes to me says, "अरे यार, you are doing so well. तुम तो मतलब अब बड़े लोग हो गए हो." Now, how do you respond to that? विदित, तुम तो बड़े लोग हो गए हो यार, बात ही नहीं कर रहे हो.
बिंदु जी ऐसा मौका मिला नहीं है अभी. No,
Now
but I
what
can
did Vidit do?
Yeah, so I can say, Biduji, for example, different aspects I will take compliment differently. For example, and it directly correlates to my self-esteem as well that I have or the self-image I have for that particular thing. For example, my physicality, right? If somebody compliments it on it, I know that यार इतने अच्छे नहीं है, ये बोल रहा है तो मतलब I will not take it that like as in if somebody compliments on a shirt, right, I'll say yeah, it's okay. But if somebody compliments that I have brought in some intellectual insight to some discussion or I've given an input, I'll be more pleased in that because I know that that's the real value that I've added. So it probably depends on
So rather than people judging you, you judge yourself and decide whether they are judging you right or wrong. You understand?
that's right. Yeah.
Now you are taking away the right of people to give you compliments. You're judging them. I feel, and I'll come to all these pointers, but these are some complications around strokes. बड़े लोग हो गए हो. What is the answer you give? After 15 years, I realized, oh, this is an appropriate answer. तुम तो नोट छाप रहे हो. These are some simple, very negative strokes that you get at times. And what I say is, God bless you. I hope that comes true. ऐसे zip हो जाता है.
Wow.
हमें भी नौकरी पे रख लो. So what I say is that I hope God gives me so much that comes true. And that's genuine. Now a person realizes कि क्या हो रहा है. So there are different kinds of strokes, but your reaction can be, think about it. Your reaction needn't be based on your own calculation about whether it's right or wrong. Just soak it in if it's positive. A lot of us are unable to even take a compliment. अरे आज तो आपने इतनी अच्छी ड्रेस पहनी है. अरे ये तो मैंने ऐसी मार्केट से ले लिया था. Have you heard these conversations? ये तो बहुत पुराना है. This is not something which I like. That's called deflection. Somebody is giving you a compliment, take it. Why to deflect it? So I'll give you some of the reactions and tell me if you connect with them. Some people discard it. No, that's not true. I am actually not that confident all the time. This just happened. So you're discounting your own self. Somebody said you had a great presentation. Also, no, I could have done better. Those 2 slides, now I messed up. Why are you discarding someone's compliment? Take it. Say yes. Thank you so much. Next time it will be even better. Sometimes people start reflecting, oh, really? Was that so good? Sometimes people just ignore the compliments given to them. Arey chhodna, let's go ahead. They would not even listen to you, and they'll just cut you short because it's their own discomfort to take in compliments, soak in it. And some people, because they don't want to get compliments, or they have somewhere blocked themselves from taking compliments, they end up telling you, "Are yaar makhan na laga. Don't be superficial, or you're too sweet." They don't accept it, but also blame it on you, that you are the one who's buttering. Maybe you had gone with your real intent, but they will, because they have not gotten into a habit of accepting compliments. Now I'll take a bit here and ask you, um, what are your thoughts on it? Have you seen these reactions?
Yes.
Yes, Bindu.
Sorry.
Absolutely, yes. Like I had my like if someone is if I'm earning and some of my friend is still studying, he said, "अरे भाई तू तो इतना कमाने लगा है, अब चल हर जगह पार्टी तू ही देगा, भाई बड़ा आदमी बन गया है, हर जगह तू ही ये करेगा." So it feels good at bad at the same time.
Yeah. So now you know the right answer to that, right?
Yes, thanks for sharing that 15 years of like research and one word answer so that I have it now. I didn't need to wait 15 more years for that. No.
Great. So, um,
Vindo, I have a question about the too sweet, right?
sure,
I
sure.
understand the way you have mentioned it, like it's like a buttering or superficial, but don't you think it is also giving appreciation back to the person who is appreciating? I mean, yeah, it was really sweet of you to say that, right? Thank you, right? Because it's not like in the sense that you're giving it, you're deflecting or reflecting it back on them, but it is more about somebody really being sweet to, of somebody to appreciate.
Hmm.
Because as you rightly said,
Yeah, Vijaya, I agree with you. The way you said it. Oh, you're so sweet. That's fine. But sometimes we call that person as he's too sweet, is not able to call spade a spade, too sweet all the
got
time,
it.
diplomatic,
Okay,
right? So
okay.
and thank you for calling that out. That's the feeling behind too sweet. Being
Okay, got it.
diplomatic, right? So then, or you are too sweet. You are saying that, but then you don't mean it. Because you're sweet, you are saying that.
No. Got it. I think, okay, yeah, because I was thinking it from a perspective that, this is really nice or good of somebody to appreciate, right?
Absolutely. So you can take it saying that, oh, so nice of you to tell me that. Thank you so much. That's fine. So sweet of you to say that to me. That's okay. But then, oh, you are too sweet. There's a difference, right?
Got it, yeah.
You're discarding it and then you're. So now these are different kinds of reactions. Check yourself. Check when you are giving those reactions. Check when you are discarding. Because you know what? Every relationship that we have, and especially the close relationships, think about it as a stroke economy. Okay, this is person A, this is person B. How many positive strokes are you putting in the other person, right? How much the other person is putting into you? It has to be balanced, it has to be continuous. Each negative stroke that you give, it takes out from your bank or your economy, right? So if you are giving negative strokes, it's okay. We need to do it at times. But please ensure that you're also giving positive strokes. Only then you earn your right to give negative strokes. Otherwise, if you keep giving only negative, only critical feedback, only that, then you know what happens? You empty out the other person's emotional bank account, or we call it as stroke economy. The stroke bank. You just empty it out. And once that is empty, the relationship gets sour. Yeah. So strokes play a very, very big role in any relationship. And first of all, for you to build your self esteem, start taking these strokes. So, one of the exercises I remember even when I started with positive lights, one of the exercises I did was to have everyone go back in 1 week. They had a challenge to meet up with at least 5 people who are close to them and ask 5 things that they like in you. And in that conversation, say that it's an assignment and I'm not going to talk about anything else but just 5 things that you like in me. Trust me, even this little exercise can boost up your self-esteem, because end of the day, um, that helps us get some acknowledgement, some appreciation that we have been longing for. Now, is that the best way to do it? Maybe, the nirvana stage is not to depend on people. But I would say just start with that, right? Oh, Chavi, great. You remember that exercise. Super. So let's move on then. And I will be sharing very, very interesting insights about strokes with all of you. Accepting it, like we said, is the key. Accept it. Accept it with full heart. Accept it with grace. Okay? And the more you accept it, the more you get it. The more you discard it, the less you get it. So it's your choice. Now I want to talk about something very interesting, which is the types of strokes. There are verbal strokes, there are non-verbal strokes. Do you agree? Give me example of, yes, Gaurav, you want to ask something?
Yeah, just one quick question.
Sure.
Even in the example where you were mentioning, like somebody praised you ke itna kama rahe ya itna chhap rahe types, a stroke, which could be too sweet, or maybe very, I would say, sarcastic also. So when you say I wish itna hota, are you really accepting it, or you are still kind of not, मतलब partially accepting, partially deflecting, or it could also be ke, or a better, I'm just giving my thought or my perspective. A real acceptance could be ke हम तो बस मेहनत कर रहे हैं, बाकी आपकी दुआएं और भगवान का आशीर्वाद है जो आ रहा है, ऐसा, मतलब that way also could be a way of fully accepting it कि हाँ, मतलब I have reached there, and yes, I am accepting, but it is all because of the hard work and the good wishes that you are only giving.
Absolutely, Gaurav. Absolutely. If you are already there, if you think what the person is saying is correct, then absolutely accept it and say that, yeah, thank you so much. It's because of people like you that I'm here. And that's true humility.
True. Got it.
Why are we saying these things, Gaurav? Is because a lot of times when a stroke is given to us, it's a choice of how we assimilate it in our body. Right? A stroke is something that gives you energy or takes energy from you. So if I feel bad about some compliment like "Ab to tum hame bhi naukri dila doge," I know that I'll feel bad about it. Now, what can I say to feel good about it? Because I don't want to take the negative part of what you said. I want to still translate it into positive.
Right.
That was just a trick. But then in genuine situations, when people are genuinely appreciating you, absolutely take it. Why not?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Now, Noreen, very good question that you asked is what about accepting negative strokes? Now, that is a big one, and I'll come to that in this types of strokes. So, first thing is verbal and non-verbal. We all are aware, right? What are non-verbal strokes? Aware?
Expressions or like tone. actions like
I'm giving you all
like a
non-verbal.
smirk,
Like
yeah,
hugging,
like a smirk or a
hugging.
sarcastic.
This is a non-verbal stroke, so don't worry about facial expressions.
Yeah, it is. I think hugging, patting,
Yes,
and also sometimes negative one, beating.
just having an eye contact,
Yeah,
the same.
yeah.
That's all. So you have positive and you have negative strokes. What is internal and external strokes? Any idea?
Wow, like something like
Surface.
self-loathing. I mean, no.
So, like,
Internal is what I give to myself. External is what I give to others, or
very good. Yeah,
everything.
what I get from others is external stroke. What I give to myself is internal stroke. So,
Internal. Yeah.
what do you give to yourself? When somebody comes, hey, you were awesome in that session. You made a great presentation. There is an external positive stroke. And in that stroke, you respond saying that, oh, yeah, but you know what? I could have done this better. I don't know why I miss it out. Now, what is the stroke you're giving yourself? Internal negative. Be aware. The first thing you need to stop is giving yourself negative strokes. There are a lot of thoughts. Our brain loves being in a victim stage, which means that by default, if you let your brain think, it will tell you everything that can go wrong or that went wrong. Our brain is designed in that way. But that's where you need to translate it consciously, saying that, you know what? Yeah, it was good by my standards. I'm going to make it better. But cursing yourself, how many times do you end up feeling not okay? Giving negative stroke to yourself is a question you need to ask. Be aware. Why I'm sharing this is because we do it unconsciously. There are cringy moments in my training sessions as well. There are times when I feel, oh my god, why did I even say that? Some example that went wrong or some icebreaker that went wrong. uh, but then cursing myself for that is the last thing I want to do. If I want to keep my self esteem, what is it that I can tell myself when I go wrong? ठीक है यार, we are all humans, we make mistakes, आगे बढ़ो. Let me learn from this, आगे बढ़ो. Now that's a positive stroke. Cringing about it is a negative stroke. So think about it in your stroke economy, in your own bucket. How much negative strokes do you give? How many negative strokes do you give to yourself? How many positive strokes do you give to yourself? My husband, I see him as a person with very high self-esteem. Not the narcissistic high, but yeah, decently high. And one of the dialogues, and it's very funny, he keeps telling, even if he doesn't need external acknowledgement as much. Maybe he has developed some kind of self-motivating strategy. So whenever I give him a compliment, this is his dialogue, okay? मैं तो बचपन के पहले से ही. And I'm like, okay, I should not say this. Why did I even give you a compliment? But then there are people who don't, who will deflect it, who might not need it, or who are already giving themselves a lot of positive strokes. Right? Okay, Tejal, I see you laughing there. So check for yourselves. To bring up your self-esteem, it is important to check how many negative versus positive strokes do you give to yourself. Then there is a concept of conditional stroke or unconditional stroke. What is the difference in that? Quickly. What is the difference between conditional stroke and unconditional stroke? Anyone?
If situations are favorable, then it's a positive. If situations are not favorable, it's a negative one, would be a conditional. But irrespective of what happens, if you continue to encourage yourself and give yourself a positive thought, or and take it as an experience, then it's unconditional, right?
Beautiful, absolutely. So conditional, unconditional. This is a quick, 2 by 2 matrix that you can keep it in your mind always, even when dealing with your own children. Now there are, and give me some examples for each one of them. What are the examples of conditional positive strokes? What are some of the examples?
If a child has done well in an exam, based the condition that we praise him, it's a positive stroke that he will get.
So this
Uh,
is a conditional positive. Wow, you got A, you are awesome, you are so smart. That's called a conditional positive.
yeah,
You did
and
great.
yeah, and similarly, I think conditional negative would be that basis the condition he has not performed well, then he gets a negative stroke. What have you done? What life में क्या
You're so
होगा?
careless.
Yeah,
You did not attempt this question. So that's
lazy, you
conditional.
don't study, all those things. Yeah.
Now, what is unconditional positive?
For unconditional, it will be like we are going for to see his result, and in the way only I'm saying, okay, whatever the result is, you did your hard work, gave your best. Whatever the result is, we know you gave all your heart in.
That is what matters. I know that you studied for it, right? Even if it doesn't work well, it's perfectly fine. And no matter what your result is, I still love you. No matter what is the result, I still admire you.
God, I'll be a good parent then.
There is nothing called good. There's only learning parents.
Oh, okay.
What about saying that, okay, you're a brilliant child? So is that, I mean, it's unconditional. At the same time, you're not associating it with any like, yeah, unconditional, but affirming kind of a thing that, yeah, you are a brilliant child.
Okay, so there are pros and cons to it, Noreen. Now, you are a brilliant child. The child will think, oh, I'm brilliant. But sometimes it is important to tell them, why am I saying that? So I always, tell my child that you're very kind. You're a very kind baby. And I tell her the examples of why I say that. The teacher said on the Thanksgiving day to thank someone. People, all the other children in the class picked up parents or teachers or their siblings to thank, their toys to thank. You know what my child did? She brought our help, the house help, and said, I want to help her, I want to thank her because she makes food for me. So I gave her that example and I said, see, you are so kind, you're so considerate, you are so respectful, you make people feel good. So giving examples actually help them understand why they're getting it, especially for children. But that's also not conditional, it's just that you're giving examples. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, what is negative unconditional? What is that?
Do anything, you only get criticism in return.
तुम कुछ भी कर लो, you are going to get it, because it's not the problem with you. Remember, people in this zone who are always in negative unconditional zone, they are perennially, they are critical in nature. No matter what you do, you are, I mean, expecting something from them is like putting your own self into a pit, your own self-esteem to zero. So why do we define ourselves from how people are perceiving us? There's a very, very nice line which my husband was reading yesterday. He was reading a book and he gave me that line. Um, okay, let me just recite whatever I remember out of that. So this is from a book, Think Like a Monk, from Jay Shetty. So he said that you are not what you think you are. You are not what people think you are. You are what you think that people think you are. Now I know it's a little confusing, but on YouTube, this is live. You can rewind and hear it again. It's a very deep concept. So, coming back to types of strokes, any questions here? How the interplay happens? Yes, no?
Couldn't conditional or sorry, Gaurav,
Yes, Gaurav?
couldn't conditional or unconditional be also related to people? For example, it's not about positive or negative. With my kid, I will always try to be an unconditional positive, and I'll try to find out ways of being positive. For example, I really love that advertisement where the mom gives to the child an appreciation not for coming fifth, what the expectation was to come say in top 5, but she appreciated because that you have beaten your own self. I see your own exam marks in last four quarters. You have beaten yourself, and you are improving every time. So even though you are not in top 4, top 5, top 3, but you have beaten yourself, so you have done a very excellent, and you deserve a, I think, a Britannia cake or something like that. It was an
Great.
advertisement.
That is
So
also conditional, right? There is something that you did, and because of that, you're getting the positive stroke. And see, nowhere I'm saying that it's wrong. This positive conditional, we are using it in our workplace, we are using it for children to motivate them. It's okay. As long as you're being conscious about it, that everything, this is not imbalanced, the conditional and unconditional part. Where do you want to be unconditionally positive? Be aware of it is itself enough. How are you as a person? Do you give negative conditional strokes? Are you into this zone? Being aware of it, I'm sure somebody in this group might be in this zone. There are personality styles like that. You will meet people who only see the criticality of stuff, and that's fine. Except give them positive unconditional strokes from your side. I try to do that.
Basically,
Right? It's not
Pygmalion,
about how they are, it's about what you choose to give them.
hmm, hmm.
Yes, sorry, I think I interrupted someone.
no, Bindu, it was me. So on the Pygmalion effect, does it relate to strokes as well, or
That's a neuroscience based social psychology.
all right? So will it play? Okay, we
Give
can talk
me
about it later.
example if
Yeah.
you are able to draw some similarity. You can come up with some example. But okay, so this is about being aware. Nothing is bad or good.
Yeah, so
But
the
what you
example was,
do,
Bindu, can I just take a minute?
sure, please.
So I think it was about the unconditional positive, and for example, the research that was done on for the Pygmalion effect on children, group of children. So it was divided into two groups, and the teachers were told that they are excellent students, all of them, and it created a bias in the mind of the teacher itself. Although later on it was told to them that they were so there was a control group and like a normal group, and in the control group, the teacher was told that these children are really like excellent, and you should really take care of them, and the results that were shown for children really performed well, all of them, and the non-control group or the normal, they performed the average, right? But teachers were told later on that they were actually average students, but it created a bias in the mind of teachers itself, and that's what the Geresto Pygmalion effect, right? What you think, as in like creates that kind of filter how you are viewing the other person as well. So, can it be an example of unconditional positive in that sense?
It's a very good example of how strokes impact verbal, non-verbal strokes impact the motivation level of people, how they impact the confidence level of people, how it in fact impact the self-esteem of people. So if you are a team leader and you give these verbal non-verbal strokes to your team, then imagine what extent they can reach, right? So absolutely,
Got it.
it works.
Got it.
At the same time, we need to be realistic and ensure that we are not expecting that only strokes will work. Of course, teaching them or training them the right things, knowledge matters, right? And that's where I come to your point with it, about the one that you made earlier about the false self-esteem. You were the one who brought it up, right, with it?
Yeah, Binduji,
The
on about the
concept of
authentic self,
false.
because yeah, if your self itself is inauthentic, then the self-esteem that you carry is likely to be inauthentic as well. And the line that you just made, ki, what people think, what you think about what people think about you, actually is then you're deriving your self-esteem about from it.
That is one, absolutely. But with it, you only answered the original cause. The false self esteem is built when you're giving strokes without data,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Somebody who's just giving you a lot of strokes. Okay, so person thinks, oh, I'm excellent, I'm great, I'm this, I'm that, and then they are put to test, they fail. That's what we do to our children as well at times. And Noreen, to your point, when we give positive conditional strokes or positive unconditional strokes, this is the reason to avoid sense of false self-esteem. It is important to give reason. Why are you giving that positive strokes? Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to this one. Very interesting. Ritual strokes. What are these? What do you think are these? Maintenance strokes, ritual strokes.
Maybe just a guess. Some people who are good, they are good, but they need kind of positive strokes to keep encouraging them so that they perform to their potential. And maybe in absence of a stroke, they might be at performing at 90-95, whereas with a regular a pat on the back, or a regular encouragement, they start performing to 98 or 100. So kind of a maintenance stroke, you keep giving them and they perform excellent, or they give you great result.
Great. So, organization standpoint, I describe it as, when you enter into the office, you are filled up with a lot of energy, right?
Right, right,
Now, as the day passes, the energy starts flowing down,
right.
right? This part of the cup starts getting empty by end of the day. Now,
Right.
as a manager, what is your role? Your role is to keep replenishing that cup,
Hmm.
that energy. How can you do that? By giving them maintenance strokes, doing small little things. R&R is one of it, but pat on the back. Simple, going on lunch with them. Any stroke that will help replenish that energy, right? Why we call it as a ritual or maintenance stroke is because we want to keep this as constant. We want people to feel this energy in this relationship. Now, simple little thing, me and my dad-in-law, we don't have anything in common at all, right? But then, the fact that we're living together, there has to be, some kind of stroke exchange. And what I do with him, is a maintenance ritual. Every morning he loves reading newspaper, so the first cup of tea is with him, right? And there is a newspaper Mirror that we read every day, Bangalore Mirror. He reads, and the last page, the second last page of that is horoscope. Okay, I don't believe in one, honestly. It's just a maintenance ritual. He reads it with all his energy. Okay, it's neither he believes nor I believe, but then we make fun, we laugh, we every day, and he would tell me what is the lucky color for you today, and I'll wear that and I'll tell him, see, I wore it. So it's nothing, no consequence, but what is happening every day, it's a maintenance stroke of that relationship. We exchange loves, we give each other that, and then it's fine. Every moment or every day that I miss, It feels like there's something incomplete. We miss it if it doesn't happen. Does it make sense? So small little rituals that you create with your spouse, with your family. So for example, every day I've asked my dad, who's right now in Delhi, I've asked him to send me a rose every day. I want him to send me a good morning message every day. I hate good morning messages from the world, but I love it from him, because then that makes me feel that yeah, he's remembering me, and my mom sends me good night message. But that's a maintenance stroke. We are continuing to fill each other with energy. And today, I don't know why he sent a happy Diwali message, and I'm like, Papa, please at least choose relevant. But then those are some of the maintenance strokes. Do you have such maintenance strokes with your loved ones? Give some examples. I've been talking for too long. Are you
Uh,
okay?
I read the story to my daughter at night every day. So I feel that's a stroke.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you
Yes,
for
yes.
sharing that.
Yeah, thanks, Mindu.
How about others?
I'm not at all like health conscious, but I go with my dad for walk because that's one place I can spend time with him, and he will also like. So probably that's one thing that we do together.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Noreen, for sharing that. So, these are some of the examples of maintenance or ritual strokes. Now, I know that we are all doing it, but being very, very conscious about it can help you improve your relationships even further. Now, here are some more different kinds of strokes. Okay. So, the first one is uncommon stroke. What do you mean by that? What do you think would be the impact of that, and what, give me some examples of uncommon strokes?
Rarely given, or it's not something that's easily available. Like if you're a parent and you're not somebody who feeds your child ice cream, but they do something out of the world, and then surprise them, or get them what they want.
Surprise stroke, it's just a surprise. It could be negative, it could be positive. Of course, we would like it to be positive, but uncommon. You don't do that very often. So for example, me making coffee or tea for my husband will be a very uncommon stroke. He'll be like, what? And sometimes I end up giving those surprises. I know he must be watching this, so I'll restrict myself to that. But then these are uncommon strokes, and we sometimes to rejig, sometimes to just add more to the energy bucket, our economy, stroke economy, or stroke bank, what we call. It is good to just do something out of the blues. One day I just so it was COVID season, fourth month. My daughter was at home, and of course, all of us know how frustrating it can be. So I just packed her bag. The moment she finished her school, I said, "Come, let's go for a long drive." She was like, "Mama, what?" I said, "Yeah, you and me, nobody else." So I just packed her bag. We went to Nandi Hills. We had some good time, long drive. We came back, and it was uncommon, right? We don't do it every time. But how many times do you in your life think about these uncommon strokes and give it to your loved ones, even to your team members? So think about it. These are different types of strokes that you can add in your day, and think about it, add in your relationships and the self esteem of yourself and others. Now, another type of stroke is counterfeit stroke. Now, this happens mostly when you are giving feedback. You give a positive strokes and then take it away. You know what? You are confident, but sometimes you fumble. Now, what did I do? I gave a compliment, a positive stroke, and I took it back. So be aware of that. That's the worst thing you can do to someone's self-esteem.
Just to add to that, I mean, I think in the project management world, they say first give a positive thing and then give your feedback, sandwich it in between two praises. So I think that's what it's done most of the time.
Yeah, that sandwich approach. I'm just trying to make the sandwich. That's very, very bad drawing. Sorry. So I'm just going to remove it. But yeah, sandwich approach is gone. It's passe. Please do not use it.
Yeah.
Now, if you start with positive, what's going on in the other person's head is acha point pe aaya. Tell me what is it? Don't give me gyan. So it is a passe. Learn more about some techniques like STAR in feedback, some techniques of having authentic conversations. Maybe we can have another session on authentic conversations. But that's what counterfeit strokes are. Saying something and then adding but to it. The moment you put a but or a however, you are using a counterfeit stroke. And next one is plastic strokes. These are insincere positives. I know that all of you know about it. Now, having to talk about all of these types of different types, let me just share with you some very interesting facts. We are coming to the next part of stroke economy. We're saying that if there don't seem to be enough positive strokes to fulfill our need for stroking, every individual has a need for getting strokes. We go ahead and seek out negative strokes. Do you know that? If we are not getting anything, then we are okay with even the negative attention. Can you conquer your thoughts? Do you relate to that? Yes, no? Can you think of some examples?
Yes, I think the kids do that when they don't get attention. They start screaming or they try and get our attention.
Yes, and even the adults do that. Even
Yes,
the
yes.
adults do that. And I see that even at homes, our parents, sometimes we do miss out on talking to them, and you will see how, they'll suddenly do something, even if that elicit negative stroke from you. But if you look into it deeply, it's just to seek that attention. Then next one, quality and intensity of strokes are important. And how do you build that intensity? The sincerity in which you give strokes, even to your children, to your team members, to your relationships. Um, it is important that you give reason that improves the quality of strokes. It is important that you choose the right space to give that stroke. The intensity matters. ऐसे नहीं कि बैठे हुए अच्छा what वो अच्छा था जो तूने किया था पिछले दिन. That's not intensity. You need to give that authenticity in the conversation. Few more interesting facts. We are used to getting certain strokes. Now, with it to your point, and that's where I wanted all of you to hold on to. We are used to getting certain strokes. What are you used to getting? Any certain types of strokes? Give me in your chats. Tell me, what are you used to getting? Positive or negative, whatever it is. What do you expect people give you? Okay, Vishal says you have done well. Great. Uh, I am used to getting the stroke of thank you. You really helped. So that's my certain stroke that I'm used to. Tejal says food is very delicious. So all of us are used to getting certain strokes. Because of their familiarity, we normally devalue these strokes. We don't give that much importance, or maybe just say yes, yes, and don't, absorb the entire thing. But it's still a stroke. But because it is used to, we just start taking it for granted. We may secretly want to receive other strokes, which we seldom get. Now, that's a very important one. What is that stroke for you that you want to get? And that's secretly, now I know we are on YouTube live, but your chats don't go live. So tell me if there's anything that you deeply want to hear from people, but you seldom get it. What is that one example? Anyone? You secretly, so sweet. Yes, we are proud of you. Somebody wrote. Now, I'm not going to read out the names, but somebody secretly wants people to say to him or her that we are proud of you. A lot of kids who um, haven't heard that from parents long for this kind of stroke. Great. Okay, so we are proud of you. Anything else? Think about it. Write these down. You've lost weight. Okay. Anyone else? Your secret, secret strokes that you want to get. So we deny ourselves that we want the strokes we most want. Normally, if even somebody says, "What do you want to hear?" You want to hear that I'm proud of you. You say, "No, no. Who wants to hear that you're proud of me? No, no. I don't care whatever you think." So there's a clear denial. Although I secretly want it, but there's a clear denial. Um, Tika, okay. Okay, great. So I can see the secret strokes, and thank you for sharing them. And sometimes when you get it or when people ask what you want, we don't ask for it directly, because that is secretly is what we want. Everybody has their preferred stroke quotient. Now, what is that? A very important point. You know what? I remember my grandma, okay, and paternal side. When I was a kid, and I would say my dadima bestest, or I'll just go hug her. Her reaction used to be to shrug me away. Her reaction would be very, very rude. And I would say, "Yeah, I want to love you. I want to hug you. You're my dadima." But she would just, throw me off the guard every time I tried to get close to her. Now, of course, that impacted my self esteem. I used to question myself that why she doesn't love me. But then, later in life, now that I look back, I realize that she was a person who independently raised her four kids after her husband's death. And she was taken advantage of. There was a lot of misery that she had to go through. And one of the rules that she had created was not to come very close to anyone. So she was experiencing that dissociation. That's my read of her. And she, because I was the last kid in the family, by then she was like done that, been there, done that. Okay, so I've learned not to get attached to people. So that's what was her stroke quotient. So some people are very uncomfortable taking the strokes. So it's not important for you to, push your strokes to them. It's okay. They have their own stroke quotient. But think about your own stroke quotient and try to improve it. Start taking the compliments, and you will see the more you increase your stroke quotient, which means the amount of strokes you can take at one point in time. The more you have it, the better, the more fulfilling life you lead. And remember to balance it. I hope it's all making sense. I hear myself talking a lot in this specific program, but is it all making sense to all of you? Is it kind of helping?
Yeah, we are able to relate.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Great.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, very much.
Definitely.
Super. Okay. So then next one is quality of strokes cannot be measured. Um, Now, this we have already talked about the stroke discount. When someone gets a stroke that doesn't fit in with her preferred stroke quotient, they're likely to ignore it or belittle it. With it, does it ring a bell?
Yes, right, Binduji. Yes, I think this is what I spoke about just a while back. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
Right?
that's why we think about it as an inauthentic one,
Hmm.
because it is not fitting into my kind of stroke quotient, as you said, or the way I'm used to getting a certain stroke. Uh, yes, I think it will fit in there. And also the earlier point that you made, Binduji, that Indians in general, right, are not very like we do not praise each other openly, and that may also create that kind of a bias that why I am being praised for this thing, right? But in particular, so
No,
maybe
absolutely.
related to that as well. The earlier
Yeah,
point that
I
you made, yeah.
believe, yeah, absolutely, you're right. That's how we have, but that's where things need to change. For example, when you used to celebrate your birthdays, would you open gifts in front of the guests? Were you allowed to open gifts in front of the guests?
No.
No. But you know what? If you go to Western countries, Western culture, I'm just saying that let's adapt good things from other cultures as well. They ensure that they open your gift in front of you and give you those positive strokes. In India, now things are changing a bit, but then the generation that we belong, or prior to that, was even worse in terms of taking or giving compliment. We would not open the gifts because then what if, I emote, and emotion is not considered to be great. Stroking is not considered to be, doesn't need to be open. And that's where the problem is. Expressions are bad. We are not able to express our thoughts. If you're not able to say thank you for a gift, you really liked it, then what else do you expect, right? So those are things that we can now teach our children, right? And maybe next generation will be even better. So in the end, remember that, and especially this is for the parents, we are all indoctrinated by our parents with 5 restrictive rules about stroking. One, don't give strokes when you have them to give. Keep it inside. It's okay. Don't ask for strokes when you need them. What, sissy baby? I mean, have you ever gone and asked that, I want you to say that you're proud of me? It sounds silly to us, right? That's a belief that we should not ask for strokes. Don't accept strokes if you want them. कि क्या यार, मतलब किसी ने तुम्हारी तारीफ कर दी and you're boasting about it, it's not good, right? So being humble, in the name of being humble, um, somewhere a lot of us have learned how to deflect it, not accept it. Humility or being humble doesn't mean not to accept it. Being humble means that accept it, but also give due credits to people around. Also, just simply accept it and not take it to your head, right? Don't be proud. I mean, proud in the sense, in a way that it negatively gives negative strokes to others, but then as long as you're okay with yourself. But that's not what happens, right? Then don't reject strokes when you don't want them, and don't give yourself strokes. अपनी तारीफ खुद ही करे जा रहे हो, right? That's what we hear, that you're praising your own self. That is the worst thing. Now obviously, it's not something which is good forever or all the time, but it's good to talk about what's good in you at times. You need to talk about what you learned, maybe in a different language, but what's the harm? What am I doing? I learned something, I'm sharing it with you, and I'm giving myself some strokes. I have been able to help someone today. That's okay, right? So these are some of the things. You can take a screenshot, you can go to this live video and watch it again and again, but ensure that you're not teaching this to your kids. Let's make a better generation, even better than us. And there are some important, even more important points. Parents use these strokes to control the children. Teach children that strokes are in short supply. So I will not give you compliment unless you really do something. Now what happens? Children start longing for your strokes. I will not hug you till the time you do this. So what are we making them believe? That strokes are short in supply. Parents gain the position of stroke monopolist. So I am the one who will give you the strokes, and I have the monopoly. I'll decide when to give you, when not to give you. And then when we grow up, we unconsciously start using these rules. And somewhere inside, there is a partial stroke deprivation. Neither we give nor we take as much as we must. And that's one takeaway I want all of you to take from this whole workshop, that remember that strokes are in abundance. Imbibe these beliefs. Strokes are limitless in supply. Right now, sitting here, I can tell all of you that how grateful I am. That it's, what is the date today? It's 29th December, when people are partying, they are, if even if not partying, at least enjoying their holidays. You are sitting here learning about something, and take that stroke. It's amazing. Thank you for watching this, participating in this. We can give a stroke whenever we want. We can take stroke when offered. If we don't like the stroke, we can reject it openly. Okay, that must be your opinion. But let's know each other a little better for you to rethink about a stroke. You don't need to take every stroke. You don't need to take negative strokes from people. It's okay. You can choose to disagree, and giving your own self some strokes. And this is one exercise that I give people who feel that their self-esteem from 0 to 10 is 0 or 1 or 2. So if you are here, then every day in front of the mirror, go in front of the mirror, preferably in a closed space, uh, but go in front of the mirror and just say, wow, you're awesome. And every day, first day it'll feel a little uneasy, stupid. Second day it'll feel a little uneasy again. But third, fourth, fifth day, trust me, you will add more adjectives to yourself. So do that. And with that note, I will stop here. I know today was very heavy with all the slides, but I hope you liked it. Any questions?
So I just wanted to share one thing. Uh, just that you mirror example you gave. So we have been doing Gita class, and there are some slok which actually defines you, saying that I am enough, right? You yourself are enough, to this world and whatever you are. So actually, I put a sticker on my mirror, and every morning I look at it, and it says I am enough. And that gives such a positive reinforcement to you, that yes, at the end of the day, you can keep that self-esteem and your assertiveness, throughout the day. So I just wanted to share.
Thank you so much, Pankaj. That is exactly the exercise. The three limiting beliefs, convert them into positive, empowering beliefs. I am enough. I am loved, and I deserve. These three things, if you say to yourself, um, next is only abundance in life. So any other question that you have that I can answer? I'm not sure what was the end time today. Do we have time? Or was it one? I'm not very sure. But I'm okay to wait and answer any questions if you have.
So one thing is again in organizational feedback, we are kind of off late rated in a way how people perceive us. And what I feel is there are two things. You have your own yardstick where you see, okay, have I done better than last year? Versus how I am perceived is different for different people. Someone might feel, okay, I've done well. Someone will feel I can do better. So, and then if I'm total, so I don't know. Sometimes if I feel it is relevant, I accept, and sometimes I disregard it. So, so I don't know if that's the right way, or am I being the narcissist type person who will, okay, whatever you tell me, I am perfect kind of a thing. So, that
Uh,
is.
See, you always have a right to disagree. But one thing that I would want to tell you is that, again, the language that we speak play a big role. So, Noreen, they are measuring the performance. They are measuring the work. They are not measuring you. They're measuring your work.
Yeah.
And the moment we separate our work with us, we will be able to dissociate and look at it very objectively. Okay, my boss came to me once and he said that, Bindu, I'm sorry, I fought really hard in the moderation exercise, but I couldn't get you the top rating, although I believe that you did deserve it, but I couldn't get it. And now I know that that is what he could say to me. And rather than sulking, what I learned was to ask him one question. And I asked him very, very clearly. And these are some, experiences that think through what's the right answer to such things. So I just asked him, so I understand that you feel I deserve it. Tell me, what can I do for next performance cycle to get there? What is it that that person did which I can imbibe? What is that extra bit that you think I should do? अब कुछ कर नहीं सकते, हो गया rating खत्म हो गया. Now what to, why to think about that I am dumb, I am not able to make it, or this person is dumb, he doesn't know my. There is no point sulking about it, right? So, Noreen, I think you have all the right to agree, to disagree, as long as you're also respecting other people's opinion. You're not a narcissistic.
Okay.
Becoming that happens when you start cribbing about those people and saying that you are wrong. I'm the only one who's right. But as long as you are respecting their opinion and saying that, okay, we can agree to disagree, you have your own points, I have my own points, that's fine. That's like, gracefully handling disagreements.
Hmm.
Yes. So
Uh,
Bindu?
Vidhi, one point here, just adding on to it. So, in a corporate context, at least, and in general as well, so there are like there are blind spots that we also have, and that's where the concept of Johari window also comes in. That we do not know actually. So the other person or the manager or the environment, he is able to see what you are not able to see as well at times. So, and if the feedback is given in the right with the right intent, probably that's what needs to be differentiated when we are taking that. Is the intent right? And as you said earlier, is it behavior specific? I think that will make more sense.
not taking it personally, absolutely with it.
Yeah,
Now there are times, and I have seen some toxic bosses as well. There are all kinds of people. Some people don't have that maturity. They might have bad intent. Ab kar lo tum.
yeah.
Now what will you do? Now we need to be prepared with all kinds of situations. And what I'm saying is that even if they mean harm, unless you allow yourself to be harmed, they will not be able to harm you.
Right. Uh,
Right? So
Thank you.
I can.
Binduji, I have just a couple of points. Can I make those? I want to ask you a few questions as well.
Sure.
First of all, Binduji, thanks for the excellent session today. You have gift of simplifying, in the words, simplifying very, I think, complex topics in the simplest manner. They say that if you can explain it to a 5-year-old child, that's when you also understand it fully, and
Yeah.
that's when the other person understands as well. I think that's how you explain it to us. Thank you so much. Bindu, I have two questions here. So one is number one, as you said earlier, sometime told that we are like kind of our life script runs in a manner that as a child we pick up either one, two, or three, as you said, right? I don't deserve, or I'm not good enough, I'm
Hmm.
not loved enough, I don't have enough, right?
Hmm.
And you also mentioned, just taking your example, if it is okay, you said that for the first 17 years in your corporate life, you're trying to prove, right? Because I think you're trying to prove that life script that I'm not good enough, right? So you had that script probably and you wanted to overturn that. My point to you is that how much of this life script is reversible, even if you are aware of it? How much control do we have? And do we have in our power to do it on our own, or do we need somebody's help or a coach or a counselor to help us reverse it, and to what extent it is reversible? That's my first question.
Very good question. Let me answer this and then you move
Sure,
on to
sure,
second,
Binod.
okay?
Yeah,
Before my thoughts go for a.
sure.
So, life scripts are reversible. Of course, they are reversible. That is the whole reason we're sitting here and understanding it. Are you the same person with it that you were 15 years ago?
Absolutely not.
right? We do keep changing, and we have, every human being has the capacity to change. Now, do you need external help? Take it. If you don't need, you have that grit and willpower to do it yourself, do it. If it's not working out, ask for help. See, end of the day, the idea is to get the result. End of the day is to learn. But let me also tell you one thing. Once you are aware of this life script, once you're aware of it, that is a process that I went through. Okay. Then I started being aware of every action of mine. Why do I need to buy that thing? Why do I need to talk or react on that thing? And I started, putting one plus one together. So it took me 6 months to only be aware of, how that life script is playing in my current life, how my insecurities are that were developed in childhood, that I'm not loved enough, is resulting in me being more accommodative or more insecure in my relationships. And it took me 6 7 months to realize that. But the moment that realization happens, the change automatically starts building in. And that's a very beautiful process. It takes time for sure with it. But it's once you are aware, then you will yourself manage it.
Got it, Binujit. Thank you. Binujit, the other point I want to make, and this is something I attended, I don't want to name the forum, but I attended just a part of it, 3 hour session that was there. I just want to leave everyone else as well to reflect upon it. But there was one point that the leader made there, and it was about, uh, he was saying that there is one view of the self which we deeply hide even from ourselves. When we are talking about the self-esteem, I wanted to kind of people to reflect on that as well. And I'll just take maybe probably 30 seconds to give an example, right? So there was a person there. He was an aspiring novelist and he was an author. And so the projection that he will give to the world, right? And even on a surface to himself, that he's a good writer or a good author. But when the leader really probed him further and he really asked him, just tell me what is the true belief that you have about yourself, that you hide even from yourself, that like as in about yourself that you had. So he said, actually, I feel that I'm dumb, right? I do not write that good. But it's like I have to make that projection to even myself, to others, because to the first statement that you made on self-esteem and self-confidence, Binduji, see, we want to project certain image to the outside world, right? And in doing that, we become so kind of, we have to hide our true selves to the others as well. And in the process, we do not, we like distance ourselves as well, right? And from the true entity that we are. So I think that was something that was really kind of opening for me as well. And when he revealed, then in your mind also he was thinking, okay, for example, this is what I project to the world, but this is not who I am, right? Because deep down we all know, right, what kind of self-image or self I have, but we may project others to other things. That was my only point. So, and it is not just about data, Binduji. As you said, authentic self is about like end of the world, how end of the day, how you really truly know yourself, right? So, and no data can support it enough.
Honest you are to yourself, right? How honest and courageous you are to your own vulnerabilities. And I see our positive lights group, at least I have seen people being extremely honest, extremely vulnerable, extremely trusting. And I really hope we bring this to a next level and have more, add more and more to our mission. So thank you, all of you, for such amazing participation in all these days. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and we will open up the Q&A and we'll discuss everything that has been left undiscussed. So one last question, if anyone wants, we can take up, and then we'll continue it tomorrow.
Just one, hi, Gaurav here. Just
Hi,
one
Gaurav.
quick point. I wouldn't say a question, but a build here. As in, first of all, thanks for such a great session. And I initially felt that today being the topic being self-esteem, and I felt personally I do not have any such problem on the topic per se, but I'm thankful to you, and also to my mentor Saurabh for encouraging to attend these sessions, and it really helps, and we gain a lot of value. And the other thing which I also observed, and I'm now able to connect, even your new icon that I see of the new code talent, that shows me a lot of positive strokes, even through a painting. I'm trying to kind of connect this session with that also. In the icon, I see a lot of beautiful, colorful painting strokes, and they also give a lot of positive strokes. I'm sure, to all
Wow.
of us.
Thank you. I'll pass this compliment and a positive stroke to my husband who created this. So
Oh, beautiful.
thank you so much. And thank you, the entire group. And the
Thank you.
little
Thank
fellow
you. Thank
who's
you.
on the session. Great to see him, Atika. Thank you, everyone. So see you tomorrow. Bye. Have your questions ready for tomorrow.
Thanks so
And
much. Bye bye.
thank you. And
Thank you,
all those
everybody.
watching on YouTube, you can subscribe to the channel. Oh, I feel so uh, amazingly awkward saying that. But yeah, so subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you know when is the next session coming up. And if you want to join, you can join Positive Lights group on Facebook. In the description of this video, I'll put the link, and you can join us and then join us live in these workshops. So thank you so much, and bye bye, everyone.
Yeah, Miraji.